Hello, I'm Sophia Lou and welcome to my channel.
Hello everybody and welcome to a new video. Today we are going to be doing the cheap supply challenge. Cheap supply challenge is you get a set amount of money and you go and buy supplies with this. I set myself a target of like £10 and this was to get everything, and I mean everything. Alright. I believe I've kept him within budget with most of it, and my stern belief is that even though you are going for cheap supplies, does not mean that you cannot go for quality as well as cheap. I'm quite a bit of a bargain hunter when it comes to buying supplies, mainly because I feel that you shouldn't have to break the bank to be able to, buy some supplies. So let me show you what I've got. So first of all, we have my standard 220 GSM white card. This was from The Works. There's 15 sheets in this, and like the quality of this card is really nice. Like, it's only £1, but just to show you, like, the paper is like, it's smooth. It doesn't have the waxy feeling of any like some card that I've used before. And this is like, it's good quality card. Like, considering it's a quid. Like, it's quite nice. I love using this. I also got these. These were from the pound shop. I might not end up using these in this particular challenge. I might end up using them in another one. But these were only £1, and they're really good. And these were from my local pound shop. Also from my local pound shop was, where are they? Was these Watercolor Paints. Now, these will be much cheaper. They were only £1. They were from a local pound shop. And I suggest, like, I always suggest, like, if you're starting out and you want to experiment in a medium, best off actually not going for expensive stuff, like, just to try. I mean, I will use this to experiment with at the end of the day, and then I'll use my cotton to work harder on. But I've never used these before, so I don't know what the quality is like. At the end of the day, I can't judge it. So I'm looking forward to using these, because I can imagine that these are going to be much more fun to use. Now, I broke the bank a little bit. I bought these. These were £3 from eBay, and as most of you who have seen my videos with my watercolours, I like brushes that have got the water thing in. Let's just show you these in here, if I can open them. Now, this is the value pack of Aquaflow. Now, these are really good if you want to like put inks in them and try them out, but they're much cheaper feeling than the ones I usually go for, and they are, nice. To be honest, the brushes feel actually quite nice to be able to use. I'm really looking forward to using them. But I suggest that if you are just trying out, hello Bella, if you are just trying out and wanted to experiment to see if this works for you, probably best off like actually getting these just to try them out, because you don't know whether or not these are going to be for you until you've done them. So that's that. So far that is £6. A lot of this I have bought to try out with other challenges as well, so this isn't just this. I got these. These are just rubbers. I found these at Wilko's, and they are push-upable razors, okay? 30p each. 30p each. Now, that one I'm not going to use, but 30p. Can't like go wrong. It's a rubber, it's 30p. Also, in my bag of tricks, I got this. I have used this before to do inks with, but this was 60p. This is just a simple palette. I do have a bigger one which I got, which was £1. But for this purpose of this challenge, I'll only be using this. I also got these fine line pens. These were from The Works. £1 for free. They're not bad. I've used these before. Really nice to use. The ink does spread a little, so I probably would have to wait till my watercolours dry before I can use them. And last, well, actually no, not last. As you can see, I've used these 4-point pens, 30p, and the eraser, which was 30p as well. So as you can see, I've spent under a tenner. for all this. I'm not going to use all this for this challenge. It's just something that I felt would be interesting to do. More than likely what I'll end up using is the brush, the ballpoint pens. I probably won't use the pencils for this one. I'll use the watercolors, and I'll end up using these. So this challenge is going to be a lot of fun to do. I'm a firm believer in that you don't have to have massively expensive supplies to create an amazing piece of artwork, because I could never afford art supplies as a kid, so places like the Works and the pound shops were my best friend, really. And it's only that as I've come over time to be able to buy the supplies that I want that I've been able to get and work on. Anyway, I'm rambling on. Let's actually get started with the challenge. So I'll see you on the flip side, and let's get this sorted. Okay, I am going to say this now as a disclaimer. I do not like the way this piece turned out, and I will explain pretty much why. I'm used to using the pan sets, and when I use the pan sets I have more control over how much colour I have, and I don't really use tube paints, so this to me was a complete experience, and I just couldn't get anything to look the way I wanted. So the image did not turn out how I wanted. I wanted it to be a lot more vibrant, and it just didn't work out what I wanted to do, and that's why personally I'm not a fan of the piece. But a purpose of this challenge, I didn't want to start again. I just really wanted to just show you that, you know, cheap supplies don't necessarily mean that it's going to be a bad piece of work. At the end of the day, the reason why it didn't turn out the way I wanted it is because I'm not used to tube paints. I reckon if I bought a cheaper supply of half pan set, I would have enjoyed doing the piece a lot more. But because I didn't have as much control or as much experience with using the tube paints, it really didn't work for me at all. Now a lot of you will say, oh, that's not really an excuse. I'm not blaming the equipment, I'm blaming myself, because I don't have the experience. It's not the paint's fault, it's not the equipment's fault, it's my fault. Okay, disclaimer. So with this piece I sketched with ballpoint pen, and when I use watercolors I usually sketch with ballpoint pen, so it's, you know, that it just get a feel of the image, and I tend to use the lighter ballpoint pen in that aspect. The trouble I did have was building up the pigment a lot more, but yet again this is due to my lack of experience with these paints. I reckon if I had more experience with them I could get them to work how they would usually work with my half pan set. I will say this now, I can't turn around and say that the expensive supplies are going to make you the better artist. They do not. It takes experience to get better with those supplies. So you do not need the most expensive Copics, you do not need the most expensive pens, you don't need the most expensive paints. Now I will say the more expensive stuff will actually really the paint will stay for longer, the equipment will stay for longer, and this is because it's more pigmented and it's more built to last, whereas the cheaper stuff you will find, probably as an experiment we should leave this for 6 months and we go back to it and maybe compare the piece to say another watercolor original I would have used with one more expensive paints, just to show the contrast between the paint. Now when this dries it does have a very like a smooth, almost like pastel feel to the paint. This is just with it being a cheaper grade paint, it dries that way, and you can tell when you put your thumb across it, the paint does come off a little bit. This is just because it is a cheaper supply, but as I say to you, the supplies don't make the artist makes the supply. And as I stressed earlier, the reason why it didn't work the way I wanted it to work was due to my inexperience with the tube paints. And I would like to go back again to this challenge after I've experimented a lot more with the tube paints, so I can turn around and say, yes, this definitely works. But yeah, I firmly believe that if you do want to experiment with any equipment or anything, shape or form, if you want to get into traditional work and say you haven't done oils before, I would suggest getting a cheaper oil paint to practice with before you go on it, buy the expensive, before you tend to invest in it. There's no point investing in equipment if it's not for you. If your style, if you decide that markers do not work for you, there was no point in you spending all that money on markers. It would have been better if you'd tried the cheaper supply, and if you liked it, then go to it. If you have the money to go for the more expensive supply, you might as well go for it. But I firmly believe that cheaper supplies don't necessarily mean that it is going to be bad artwork. I'm going to stress that now. It really does not mean in any way, shape or form. Also, cheaper supplies do not mean bad supplies. Look at everything I got there. I got my palette, I got my brushes, I got my pens, I got my paper, I got everything I needed for under £10. Now the paper does buckle a little bit, but that is due to the nature of it being card. It's not meant for oversaturation with water. You can fix that later on. That's absolutely fine. That's about practice. You learn with practice, and that's the best thing about using the supplies you practice with. I really hope, like, in some way, shape or form, this helps you guys a little bit, because I will admit this was my mistake, no one else's. I do hope you guys enjoy the video. If you do, maybe like, comment, and if you want to, subscribe to see more content. Thank you guys for always being supportive. See you later.